So natural as the sing out in, as natural as the chill in the wind. It's a place we haven't been, and yet you're taking me there again. Glory, I as you into the sexy vibe. Ecstasy's keeping me mesmerized.
Good evening, everybody. How y'all doing?
Hello.
Hey, Nicole. How are you this Monday?
I'm doing all right. I'm glad it's after 5.
Yes, Mondays are a little gloomy. Hey, Tawana.
Hey,
How you doing?
how y'all doing?
How you doing? Where are you at? The studio?
Huh?
You at the studio?
No, I'm at home.
Oh, I see speakers. How are you doing this evening?
Oh man, tired. Had a rough weekend, but I'm doing fine.
How is everybody out there that has joined us so far? Hey, Facebook user. I don't know who you are. You got to grant permissions, but both of y'all, hey, so far, how y'all doing? In order for us to see your name, you actually have to grant permission for us to see you. But thank you for joining us. This is our third broadcast of Natural Vibes, and on here we are going to talk all things music. Some of it's going to be current, some of it's going to be history. We're going to share our music poll with you. We might talk about some industry things that come up that might be weighing on us. Last week we had my good friend Rob Diggy come on tell us some things about the industry. He's a Grammy Award-winning arranger who won a Grammy for Beyonce, the remix of Beyonce's "Crazy in Love" with Maurice Joshua. He also scores movies, and he's just been doing this a really long time and does a lot of really great things. So sometimes it'll be informative, and sometimes it'll be fun. But we look forward to you joining us every week. Hey, Charles. We look forward to you joining us every week as we embark down this road of talking about things. So, ladies, we were talking about a few things this week. And Nicole, you want to start with some of the current events that we were talking about?
You want to start with the current events?
We can, or do you want to start with history?
Current events as in the music and stuff like that, new CDs and stuff.
Yeah, the new CD.
We can start with that. So I'm not sure. Some of you may be aware, you may not be aware, but Diana Ross came out with a new CD. Now, my mom used to think she was Diana Ross, and my mother would have loved this CD. I didn't love it. And I'm not saying it was bad. I think for her to be in her 70s, she sounds awesome. Her voice is in excellent condition. Her voice sounds absolutely fabulous. The music wasn't bad. It's just not my cup of tea. You can definitely hear influences. I don't know if they like a couple songs, like the one song, I think it's called Thank You. I think it's probably like the first release. The verses, I definitely heard. You're all I need to get by. I heard that. But then the hook comes in. Then the hook comes in, it's different. But then the verse come back in, it's back to that. So I don't know if it's just an influence or almost like a replayed sample, not a sample because they didn't sample it, but they played it. You definitely can hear it. Then she has another song. It's called what is it? Beautiful something. It's hello. Is it me you're looking for?
Yeah.
I'm like, Diana. But
it definitely is. It is.
But it was, for me, my taste, I found it to be boring. I found myself skipping through the songs, listening and like, okay, girl, and I'm hitting the next one. Like, okay, girl. What did y'all think of it?
Tawana, did you get to listen? I know you're not a Diana Ross fan.
And this did not help.
Lord.
I tried to listen to the music. I'm sorry, I'm having delayed moments right now. But I tried to listen to it, but it made me feel like I was watching a boring movie. I just couldn't. It didn't interest me at all. She didn't make me a believer.
Oh Lord. Okay. So this is what I'm gonna say about it. It's funny. This is how I look at music. I know that there are going to be influences in music because there are 12 notes on the keyboard, different scales, different octave you can go in, 12 notes, and there are about, I looked it up because I wanted to know, about 4,000 different chord progressions, right? That's your chord progression combination. And we have millions of songs, right? So some songs are going to have some similarities. It's going to happen. But sometimes it's blatant. Like it's so blatant. So it was funny on the thank you song. Yes, it's definitely "You're All I Need to Get By" on the verses. On the Beautiful Love, it is definitely "Hello." And then on another song called "Time to Call," it's not as blatant as the "Hello," but to me, it
You
sounds like another Lionel Richie song, "Say You, Say Me."
Now, when I first heard that one, because I heard that one before, because in my playlist, I think I did it off Apple Music. It's not playing it in order. It's just
Mhm,
playing whatever song. So I
mhm.
heard that one first, and I was like, "Oh, this is Lionel Richie." But then when I heard the other one, I was like, "Oh no, this is."
Both of them are. Both of them are. But I'm going to say there are a couple songs that I like. Overall, I would say the album, I didn't have songs where I was like, oh my God, I love this song. This is my jam. I'm going to listen to it forever. Right? Nothing moved me like that. But there were a couple songs that I like. I like the thank you song. It's kind of nostalgic. It's fun. I think all of her songs had like an old school feel good vibe. She had a positive message, throughout
Mhm.
all of the music. It was all feel good music. It seems like the song that people gravitated to, which wasn't the one she put out months ago, which was Thank You, was a song called All Is Well. I don't know if you looked, but it has like 1.4 million views already. I'm like, okay, I guess that's the one people like. They like that song. It's kind of a message song, kind of like a heal the world type song, like Michael Jackson type, whatever. So I guess people kind of gravitated towards that one. And another one that I like, because I'm a househead and I like to dance, is I like what was it called? Tomorrow. It was called Tomorrow. And I can hear they're gonna be playing that in the clubs, and people are gonna be dancing to it. And I could definitely see in my warehouse days, I would have been dancing to it. Now, is it a classic? No, it's not a classic to me, but it's a nice song. It's a song that would have had me on the dance floor. Overall, I think it was a nice album. I just don't think that there was anything like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is the bomb. It had some, Nicole said cute. And that's cute songs. It had some nice songs, but it didn't have any masterpieces to me.
I agree. So the next CD, the Silk Sonic. Now, I hadn't listened to it at first, but every musician, I'll say, that I had been seeing talk about, oh my God, real music. I hope this opens the door for other people to just real music. This is this and blah blah blah. So I'm thinking now I heard the two songs that are out, and to me they sound like Bruno Mars. They sound like he could have done them without being with Silk Sonic, and it's the same. And like I was saying earlier, all of the songs, be it they're nice, sound the same. And to me, it sounds like everybody in the group is strutting like for what's his name? George Jefferson calling people jive turkeys. That's what it sounds like to me. Like they should be jive turkey. I'm cool, you know. That's what all of the music sound like to me. And I was just kind of like, I like it, but I don't feel like I would definitely, if it's in my playlist, skip the songs. There's some songs in my playlist that I every time it comes to, I listen to it. I would definitely skip it and probably only listen to it if somebody's in my car, like, oh, hey, and I'll go on and listen to it.
So, Wanda, did you get to listen to it?
I listened to some of it. I liked it. I really liked it. It to me it was kind of refreshing. Listening to all of the songs that's out today. Woo, it was very refreshing to hear some of those songs. So of course you're not gonna like love me. I'm not gonna love every song on a CD, but I did like quite a few of them, and I'll put them in my rotation. You know, it depends on my emotion and my feelings for that day. But yeah, I like the CD. I'm gonna buy me a record player and buy it on vinyl.
But there are some songs out. You know, I think we always, as older artists that like what we like, we tend to be like, what's out today? And I'm one of those people that feel like that. But there are some artists that are putting out actual trying to bring R&B back. I mean, Trey Songz's new album, straight R&B. Well, his last album, I mean, straight R&B. It's like, okay. Now, I don't think he's the best vocalist, but he actually sounds like he can sing on this CD. And it's good, you know. Or even, and I'm not the biggest Summer Walker fan, and she's the new person. Nice CD, R&B. You know what I mean? So you have some, they just may not be. Well, Summer Walker is really big right now. She's doing her thing right now with the young kids. But like the Trey songs, yeah, he has his following, but a lot of it's almost like they're trying to bury R&B. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they've been doing that for a long time. So my take on this CD was, I mean, it's definitely an old school throwback, right? And what I will say, and y'all know this is how I feel, I like artists that are genuinely who they are, right? Even though I like some of Bruno Mars's songs, I don't feel like he has an identity. I feel like he's gimmicky and he copies everybody else. I'm like, who are you? One thing I can sit up here and say about Diana Ross is Diana Ross is Diana Ross. She knows who she is as an artist and she stands in it. Bruno Mars kind of is a chameleon. He tries to sound a little bit like James Brown. He tries to sound a little bit like Bootsy and P-Funk. He tries to sound a little bit like Average White Band. Throw in the Ohio players. Just throw whatever funk kind of vibe he feeling. He pulls from that, and I'm like, who are you as an artist? Because to me right now, he's just trying to pull from the old school stuff that kind of worked, and the music is nice, but it is still kind of missing something, because there was something in 70s music that just kind of like drove it, like, and it feels like it feels like it's a play on it, but it don't feel like it's it. You know, I feel like something is missing. It has a couple of songs that I thought were cool. I do think that song is funny, that everybody thinks is funny, but I swear to God, I cannot stand a song once they use the B word or the N word. I just don't like it. Even though I don't mind some profanity, I don't like the B word or the N word. That instantly turns me off. So overall, you know, it didn't really move me. I don't think this project has any like classics either. I think, as Nicole said, I think got some cute songs, but it don't have nothing that I want to keep, like being like, oh, I love it. But that kind of goes to a question of and then I'll say this. When I say who is Bruno Mars, Miles Davis said that it takes a long time to sound like yourself, right? You have to figure out who you are and who you want to be as an artist, and not just kind of do everything. And I feel like a lot of artists nowadays, they do whatever the record company tells them to do, and they follow and mimic a lot of other artists, and they don't have an identity. Not everybody, but most of them. But what do y'all think? What do y'all think about artists today and like them developing their own identities? Like back in the day, Cameo didn't want to sound like Confunction, and Earth, Wind, and Fire didn't want to sound like Maze. Everybody had an identity. Now, since the 90s, some of these groups, it's hard to tell one from the other.
Sure.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure about the 70s, but I know in the 90s, a lot of these sounds, it wasn't the artist saying, I want to be this sound. It was their producers creating this, like Escape. Their sound was created. TLC, put together. This is going to be the sound. I worked with a producer that when I was in a group, and he worked for Sony. This is the sound. We're doing a female Jodeci. And like he had another group before us that didn't quite pop off. So he trying to give us their songs, and he created this sound, and it was different, and it was different for a girl group. You know what I'm saying? And I think it was before Escape, and then here come Escape with the baggy, and that's what he was trying to create. And then here come Escape, shoots when I was in the, before Destiny's Child came out, we were kind of, so I think a lot of times it's not the artist. And now you have artists that are doing everything themselves because of the internet. So you have artists that have a certain type of voice, and their favorite singer is Beyonce. So that's who they're trying to sing like, or their favorite singer is Brandy. So I even hear gospel artists that's coming out and they sound like Brandy, the way they run and stuff. I could hear in Brandy influences of Whitney. She sounds nothing like Whitney, but I can hear in some little runs, it's like, okay, that's Whitney. You can tell she has influences, but she ain't out here trying to be Whitney. But I also believe in the 90s, they created her. You're going to be the girl next door, and this is going to be your image. That's why she lied about being married when she got pregnant and trying to keep up this image that they created for her. You know what I mean? But now you got people, when you're left to yourself to try to figure out who you are, you really don't know who you are. I went through that for years. People would tell me, you sound good, but who are you? And I'm looking like, this how I sound. You know what I'm saying? But I never understood that. I remember I sang at the joint once, and George, what's his name from George's Music Room? Yeah, he was like, oh my God, you sound great, but be yourself. And I'm looking at him like, what are you talking about? And I never really could understand that until later, when it comes time to do your own music. Now it's like, who am I? You know what I'm saying? I don't like how I sound on this because I'm used to singing somebody else's song, and I know how they sound in my head. Okay, this is how I'm singing it. But now when it comes time for me to sing something from a clean slate, I can't really deliver.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's tough trying to figure out who you are.
And that's true. It's like I always go back to that quote that Miles Davis said, that it takes a long time to sound like yourself. And I would say when I was started singing at open mics, people used to do the opposite to me. They wanted me to sing like other people. They wanted me to, try to be Shaka, try to be this, try to be that. I'm like, I can't. I ain't that. I'm just me. I did the opposite. I didn't know how to be somebody else. So for me, creating my own songs and figuring my way through them was a little bit easier because I had people that I admired and that I respected, because y'all know I love Stephanie, and I love Phyllis, and I love Nancy, and I love Minnie. I love Shaka too, but I never wanted to be any of them. And I never focused on trying to sound like them. So sometimes I struggle with the opposite of giving enough of that artist for authenticity purposes to deliver that song, because I'm like, I'm me.
My problem was, I'm sorry, Tawana, but my problem was, it's definitely not a problem. You're supposed to hear it before it comes out of your mouth. But my problem was, I hear the artist in my head. And so I remember I was in high school, and for the fashion club, the lady over the fashion club wanted me to sing Anita Baker's I Apologize. And I was like, so like, no, because I hear Anita Baker's voice. And for me, I can't sing that because that's not me. I don't sound nothing like that. But I didn't have to sound like Anita Baker. But in my head, this not going to sound right if I don't sound close. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so I was like, we need to find another song, you know. But that was my issue. I hear it in my head, so now I find myself singing like the person, and I never could understand until I understood that I'm mimicking. Because when you're singing other people's songs, like there's certain songs I could sing easily, right? Then there's other songs that might not even be as high or as big, but I will have difficulty singing it because I'm trying to sound like that artist.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And so I went through that a long time.
Tawana, were you gonna say something?
No, I was just agreeing with her. That you try to execute something, but get jumbled up because you're trying to sound like the next person or the person who made the song, or someone come and tell you, you know, you sound good, but you didn't sing it like so and so and so did it. So, you know, that's something that you need to work on, being better, basically being better at sounding like the original artist of the song.
And I think, I think that can be good. Now, I won't say it's bad. I think it can be, well, I'll say it can be good or it can be bad because it can put you in a box, right? And I think every person has a right to express themselves as an artist, and you don't have to sound like somebody else. And just because you're singing somebody else's song, you don't have to sing it like that person. Luther took people's song and changed it up all the time. Some people that they didn't even know sometimes that it was a remake. You know, Anita Baker did the Dionne Warwick song "No One in the World." Don't sound nothing like her.
She did Tyrese lately.
And did it lately. And Aretha Franklin took Respect from Otis Redding. Didn't sound, and did her. So a song can have a lot of different voices, right? And it's a matter of whether or not a person can appreciate it. Now, I do believe that if you do a remake, you should respect the song and you should respect the melody, but you don't have to sound like the artist. I just want to say real quick, we got some people who are saying hello, but nobody's name is popping up. So I don't know who you
Yeah,
are.
I'm looking at that.
So we got some Facebook users that said hello. I know this is LaCharles. Hey, LaCharles. Somebody else said, hey, ladies and gentlemen. And somebody said, wow, that's true. Not sure what part they were talking about, but it might have been the part where it takes a long time to sound like yourself. I'm not sure. Or it could have been something about, I don't know. I don't know what it was. And then somebody else said, hey. So I don't know because in order for us to see your name, you have to grant Facebook permission for us to see who you are coming through. But otherwise, we appreciate you joining. So
how do they grant them permission? Is there like a link they have to go to, or
I think it's in their Facebook settings.
Oh,
Because I had to do it in the Facebook group. So I can like try to do it and we can try to do it step by step next time. But I think it's in the Facebook settings.
okay.
More current events. Before we talk about this Travis Scott thing, let's talk about the Shaka Stephanie Mills.
I thought that was just something you was posting. I didn't even pay attention to the flyer. I just thought, oh, she likes Stephanie Mills, so she just asking polling. And then when I actually looked at it, I'm like, oh, it's an actual versus, so it's kind of like, oh, I would definitely tune in for that.
Wait, did you see that interview though, Stephanie Mills? I didn't know she had such a potty mouth. But did you see that interview where she was on with what's that guy's name? The Charlemagne guy, is that Charlemagne?
Charlemagne.
She was doing an interview with him and she was talking about this versus and her and Shaka talking about, trying to get them to do a versus and that they had brought it up. And she said, they ain't called me. And she said some choice words, in the mix of saying that. And then somebody said, well, would you do it now? And she was basically like, F them. I ain't doing it. Basically, that's what she was saying. And I was like, I didn't know she had such a party mouth. But evidently, I guess they made that happen. So, versus this Saturday, is it Saturday, the 18th? And we on different sides because the two of y'all want Shaka. Or two of y'all pick
But
Shaka.
you know what? Can I say something? And you're gonna disagree with me, Tammy, and that's only because you love Stephanie Mills and you probably know every song she did, every B-side, every duet, every mix. You probably know everything. So to you, no, this was a great song. This was popular. This was this to you. I know you're gonna disagree with me. So I
Mm-hmm.
already know. But I was talking with Michael about this, and I was like, it was interesting when you posted, you know, the facts or whatever, how many number ones and singles and blah 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 compared to each other, and it was interesting. But I still kind of felt like me still coming from that era. I love both of them. You know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be honest. I was like, how many songs I could probably? They have to do 20 songs each.
Mm-hmm.
I could probably, and I don't like everything Shaka did. And let's get that clear. She has some songs I just don't like. A lot of songs I don't like. Even some stuff she did with Rufus, I don't like, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I could probably name 20 songs that are like the jam and that people will know. But when you have a song like Stephanie Mills, we know you're putting the rush on me. Some people will be like, who is that?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So even if that was a number one song, I just think in a verses, even though I think they're both, I would say musically, personally, about equal. It depends on your taste, right?
Mm-hmm.
And who you like, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
but just I'm not one that always go with, oh well, this was on the charts, because personally I'd be like,
Oh,
look
there.
at Cardi B. You know what I'm saying? You know, that don't mean it's good. Not saying that Stephanie wasn't good, but you know
No,
what I
I know
mean.
what you mean. I know what you mean.
I just kind of feel like even if Shaka's songs didn't go to number one, they were just, her catalog was still banging.
Yes.
Huh?
So this is what I'm gonna say. I only put those stats up because I'm a person, I don't care about stats either. Because Luther didn't win a Grammy until he did Dance with My Father with Richard Marx. And that was his first Grammys. And so I don't want to say a Grammy don't mean anything because it does. It's an accomplishment. But there are plenty of artists who haven't won Grammys and didn't, and haven't been recognized and should have been.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't go by stats. I only did those stats because somebody said Stephanie Mills only had 8 songs. That's why I did the stats. That's honestly why I did the stats. But I don't care about stats
I mean,
either.
I was shocked at the. I'm gonna be honest. I was shocked at the stats.
But
I was like,
I don't
okay.
care about the stats, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because I go by how an artist makes me feel, and I don't care if it was number one to you. If I like it, I like it, and y'all know that I'm a sentimental, sappy person. So memories and feel good stuff matters to me. Like that's what connections matter to me, and that's what makes me love an artist, and that's why I love Stephanie Mills because I saw her when I was 4 years old. You know, in the Wiz at the Schubert Theater in Chicago. That was the first time I saw her. That was a big memory for me. She had a big impact on me, and that's why I love her so much. So I feel connected to her. Now, don't get me wrong, Shaka has a bigger catalog. And so I told somebody earlier, I'm not going by the catalog. I'm going by the artists that I connect with the most. Because I mean, I ain't crazy. I know Shaka got a bigger catalog, especially if you include Rufus. You know, she has a bigger catalog. She had more hits. But just as and I love Shaka. She from Chicago. I love all my Chicago artists. But I just have a connection to Stephanie Mills that it goes back to me being 4 years old. And it's just like no deny. She's my favorite artist and she always has been. It's like I
Fair
remember
enough.
she was performing with the Whispers somewhere and Dave and them were playing for her. And Dave, I don't know if he sent me a text or something, but I think he sent me a text. It was like, I know you in the audience. And I was.
That's funny you said the Whispers. Michael absolutely loved. He used to want to be a whisper.
Girl, when I tell you in this show, the Whispers were like the freaking Energizer bunnies. I was like, look at these old dudes move. And
Yeah, I saw them live before.
I was like, where did they get that energy from? So, Wanda, what you got to say about the verses?
Well, first, let me tell Chip to step back because he talking. He like, yeah, yeah, the whispers. Ooh, yeah, back in the day. Yeah, ooh, I went on tour with them.
Hey, Chip.
We're not talking about you and your tour.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hi.
This is why I sit in the car all the time. Either that or I'm rolling. But going back talking about number ones and Grammys and everything. Phyllis Hyman. Whew, she didn't win a Grammy for any she didn't win. She had no number one hits except one song, and it was a song she was rapping on, but a lot
Yeah,
of people
don't want to change the
don't
world.
want to
I was
change
like,
the world.
really? That's what she get a number
That's
one
what
song
she
for?
right. But then her catalog to me, whew, whew, and I'm not really a Phyllis Hyman fan, but
I
there are
am.
so many, I'm a fan, but I'm not like, oh, I'm not gonna pass. Well, I would pass out if she walked past me, but I don't have her. I don't
Yeah,
have
because she
all of her.
dead. I would pass out
I
too.
knew you were gonna say that. I knew you were gonna say that.
That's why I had to change that up. Like I wouldn't pass out if she walked past me, but I would. But there are so many songs of hers that I actually do have in rotation, like on a regular. Like I'm a Gemini, so you know you got to catch me at my feelings on a song. And but Shaka Khan, I just like you grew up with Stephanie Mills. I grew up with my mama playing Shaka, either from GCI back in the day, or just her playing the records or the little cassette tapes. Like she said, I can name multiple songs of both, but more so of Shaka. And Shaka she just got my heart. She's just like, who now if I didn't have if I don't having an identity, my identity would be to be a Shaka. But she just hold a different light to me. She's just I put her on a pedestal.
Now, don't get me wrong. If I had half the talent of either one of them, I'd be more than satisfied. I mean, because they are both two amazing women. They both have great voices. It really is. And I'm not knocking either one. So, like when I say I prefer Stephanie, it's kind of all in fun, but it's really because Stephanie, I have that connection with her. But I love and respect both of them. And you know, it's gonna be a fun back down memory lane versus to watch.
And plus,
So
I could never really sing a Stephanie song for the very reason of me mimicking. I couldn't
and see,
mimic
I
her
couldn't
that
sing
well.
Shaka, but I could
Look,
sing
I
Stephanie.
couldn't mimic her that well. So it was just like, yeah. I'll
Yeah,
leave
I
that
feel
to
you.
Tammy.
And I actually didn't hear a lot of Stephanie Mills songs. I didn't recognize them until I met you.
Mm-hmm.
So that did bring me to like her more. But Stephanie Mills wasn't a regular in my household. I had to get into my 20s in order to hear anything that she actually many of her songs that she had in her repertoire. And I probably had not it been for you and YouTube, you know, modern technology, I would not have heard any pretty much many of her songs. I probably would have heard the regular radio rotation songs.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
But
you
it's
know,
gonna be a
Tammy
fun one to
always
watch.
turning us on to B-sides.
Hmm.
I said,
Oh,
Tammy
well,
always
y'all
turning
know.
us on to B-sides. Minnie Rippleton. I'm like, I ain't never heard this before.
Well, I love my B sides that are good. Now I don't like crazy songs that wasn't no good, but you know, I used to listen. I like the albums that you could listen to from beginning to end and find what you like, regardless of what was played on the radio. And I used to do that. So I like me some B sides, but they're good B sides. Unlike, you know, I won't name our friend, but you know, our friend, I joke that he be finding C and D sides and don't nobody be listening to that stuff. But you know, he be in his own little lane. You know who I'm talking about.
Oh,
You know what I'm talking about, right?
yeah.
Right,
Very
right.
much
He be in his own lane. I'm like, nobody want to hear that.
Sorry, I got a phone call and it kicked me off.
Oh, that's okay. So now we're gonna talk a little bit about this Travis Scott guy, which is funny because last week Nicole was like, "You heard what happened with Travis Scott?" I said, "No, who is that? Some country guy?" And she was like, "No," and I was like, "Oh, my bad." So, Nicole, you want what's you heard any more about this Travis Scott craziness?
Yeah, she'll give you a call back. They'll be done. So okay, I don't even know where to begin. Um, so basically, when I first heard about it, it was put out there as if, it was like the Stampede trampoline, right? So that's what
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking. That happens at concerts. People be pushing and stuff like that. I've seen a couple videos today where people were literally like this, okay, like squished up against the gates, and security guards were pulling people out. So I saw videos of, you want to come out, pulling people out until the walkway, letting people just be out in the walkway. It was that many people there, that many people crammed up against each other. Um, People were passing out and then being trampled because nobody can see them when they fell. And that's how this little a 9-year-old just passed away from his injuries. His father was holding him on his shoulders, but then the father started getting squished and lost his balance, dropped the little boy. He got trampled and he just passed away. And another person that was in the hospital got passed away too from their injury. So I'm not sure exactly how many people were actually in the hospital, because from one video from a young man who was there, and how he was describing it, and he's like, oh, it was like we were in a concert in hell. A lot of people felt there was some demonic stuff going on, and I'm really trying to stay away from the conspiracy theories. A lot of the videos and stuff I was watching, I'm like, okay, I don't want to see no conspiracy theories. I really want to just find some news articles, or what actually happened, and not, because I'm a conspiracy theorist. I can go on and on. You know what I'm saying? I did see a video where he was standing on the podium. You know how when people are on a tightrope, if you at a circus and they have the podium before they walk on the tightrope, he was up on a podium like that over the crowd, like a long thing, and he's standing up there. But he was not rapping; he was chanting.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like, what am I watching? What's happening?
Mm-hmm.
His stage was like fire. I mean, it was like hell. There was a lot of symbolisms
Mm-hmm.
in his show. And like, I don't want to put his name out there because I don't want the Beehive to come after him. But like, my friend worked a show, worked for Live Nation and worked a Beyonce show, and said the same thing while he was there. She's on stage like chanting, and it's like, no, thank you. What are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
I definitely believe this, and it's no shock to me that different people worship different things. People worship everything. You know what I mean? And if I'm going to believe in God and believe in good, I know there's evil out here, and I know there's people that worship other sinister things besides, you know what I mean? So I'm not surprised, but a lot of the times they put it in your face and it's so ridiculous that it makes people feel like, oh, that can't be true because that sounds ridiculous. But I'll
Mm-hmm.
say this and get off of it. But that's the devil's biggest thing, is to make you feel like he does not exist. But
I said some weird stuff. Go ahead. Before you finish it up.
but to get off of all of that, because I really don't know what he was doing or what's going. I just know people were passing out, and they could have been passing out because, hey, even though they were outside, it still could get hot. His stage was full of fire. You know what I'm saying? And they were crammed up on each other and being smushed. You know what I mean? He was provoking the crowd to jump over barriers and go
Yeah.
past the security. And y'all know what y'all came here to do. Even as somebody, people were climbing up telling the producers and stuff, hey, people are dying, there's people dead down there, please stop. You No, show must go on. And
Yeah.
and I was trying to tell Egypt, I like, well, sometimes when you on that stage, you can't see nothing but the front row. But I don't know. He was over the crowd, so he might being able to see everything. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't just on the stage looking down. He was like above the crowd. But so they're suing Live Nation, suing him, suing Drake, which I don't even understand, talking about they brought him out on stage. So it's always like, you saw what happened and didn't do anything. It's like stupid. I don't even really know if I feel like Travis Scott should be held responsible. Even if he felt like, I don't care what's happening out there, I came here to perform and give a show, I don't want to give nobody their money back, so I'm doing this show. Is it his responsibility to control the crowd, to make sure they don't act stupid? You know what I'm saying? I really don't know. It depends on how. I know, like, if you book a club, right, for a party, you have to make sure there's security there, right? So I'm not sure if he was responsible for making sure there was enough security there to handle the crowd, or was that Live Nation, if they were, since they were sponsored, were they supposed to make sure the event is secure? Do they make sure everything is secure even for the artist? You know what I'm saying? Make sure there's enough security to make sure fans don't storm the stage to attack the artist, make sure the fans are safe. You know, I'm not exactly sure where the responsibility should. I don't know if I think he should be responsible. It says, with the exception of emergency evac, how do people not know they stepping on people? Well, if you've ever been, I'm not sure who that is. Maybe put your name if you don't mind.
It's Michael.
I've been at a show, huh?
Michael Adams.
Oh, I've been at a show where you're squished. And it was just at a club. And I think I went to see Avant. And they're pushing. And so you have to start doing the ludicrous, move, get out the way. You gotta start dropping bows, throwing them bows, because people actually started pushing to the front. You know what I'm saying? And if it's like thousands of people there. Thousands of people there. So you got to imagine, if you are ready and then it's a stampede and somebody falls, or you lose your footing and you fall and people are moving, you know what I'm saying? That you're immediately by them, you might be like, wait, but if the crowd that's back there just pushing, ain't nothing you can really do. Just like when those people died at E2, right? Trying to get out of there. And that crowd up the stairs, they don't see that the person down at the bottom, the door is locked. All they know is we trying to get up out of here, or we trying to go where we going or do whatever. And the crowd is just moving,
Yeah, I would say I've never been a person who liked being in crowds. Honestly, the last time I went to the Taste of Chicago when they did the fireworks, when it used to be really big, I was 19 years old. And that crowd was the last time I wanted to be in that. And I ain't been since, because I don't like crowds. I went to New York one time because I wanted to be in Times Square. And I still want to some kind of way, but I figured I need to be in a hotel room where I'm looking down on everybody, not in it. That's how I need to do it. But I went one year. A friend of mine who lives there, he was like, you sure? He was like, I live here and I don't go. You sure you want to come? I'm like, yeah, I want to come there and I go. He's like, okay, I'll take you. So he took me down there. We got down there early, but not early enough. It's probably like 7 o'clock. People were already starting to push and whatever. And I was just like, oh, let's go. I was like, I can't do this. I was like, there's too many people. People do not know how to act in crowds, and they're not considerate. And the reaction that they have when something does happen, when somebody does fall over or somebody is potentially hurt, is to panic and to run and to trample, and then they cause more damage because they won't take 5 seconds to be a considerate, compassionate human being. Now, I think it's some weird stuff go on at them shows. I don't fully know what it is, but I know I don't want no part of it. But I also heard that there was like laced, I don't know if it was ecstasy or one of them other drugs that people were taking. They had a bad batch of the drugs, and so some people were overdosing. And so that was part of why people were falling out, is what they were saying. In addition to the trampled thing that happened. But the thing that's disappointing to me, and it's the nature of people, is the first reaction that people don't look at their own accountability in any situation. Their first intuition is always to sue somebody else. The next morning after that happened, their lawsuit's filed. And people don't look like my reaction. How did my behavior contribute to what happened? Did I act like I was supposed to? You know, they just want to get money. They're money hungry. And that's one thing that's disappointing. I feel very bad for all the people that passed away and that are still hurt and fighting to get through it. I hope they make it. It's really sad to hear about the 9-year-old boy who passed away. That stuff shouldn't happen because you went to a concert.
And I want to say too, I saw a video where they were saying it wasn't all bad, because like I said, it was so many people there. It was kind of like isolated, right? So they also showed video where people was, he didn't stop the concert. So there was still people that did not even know that happened until the next morning. That was actually there.
Oh no, the only thing that I was gonna say was this wasn't the first time that this had happened with him. Apparently his last concert
at the Lollapalooza, I think.
Yeah, it was the same, and he was inciting people to act unruly. So if you knew that before you purchased a ticket or before you threw this concert, you should have, I believe that some people should have been more conscious of what could possibly happen. Now, of course, someone dying, of course, you wouldn't think that, but knowing his history of the different concerts that he has had, or the last concert that he had, that's something that they should have taken into account. It's a pandemic going on. I feel so many tickets shouldn't have been sold. It should not have been so many people in such a confined area. Something else that I had heard was one of the security officers, and I'm not sure if this is true. I did see it off of a news clip, but you can never really believe everything you see. That they were sticking people with a guard got stuck in the neck with a needle, and he passed out, and he almost lost his life. And he wasn't the only one who was drugged at the event. So it's just scary for me to know that that situation could happen at a concert. But looking at his track record, it is something that I wouldn't allow my daughter, because there was so many young people there, babies, 9 years old at this type of a concert. I've never listened to one of his songs, so I don't know. I've never heard about it until I've never heard of him until I looked at a TikTok and found out something was going on. That's the extent to my knowledge of him before anything. But it's just so scary to know that this is happening at a concert. I think that they should be held responsible for selling so many tickets. And it's just.
Well, I'm not sure how that works, because I'm trying to think, because I've actually worked that venue before. It's at the Astrodome. So it's a huge venue, where they do the Astros, the soccer games. So it was outside, the dome. Yeah. I think once you go outside into the thing, it's open, But I was trying to figure out, like, how was it? What were they just on the field part, because there's seats around, were the seats taken out? I was trying to picture, like, how was it? Was it just confined to the field? You know what I mean? I wasn't really sure, because I didn't really get to, nobody showed a video of the whole thing. You know what I mean? But it definitely was too many people there, because they were like sardines on top of each other. I've never seen anything like that before.
Well, I don't know how many people, and I don't know where they were, but I do know that I think I read something where it said that the police chief went to him beforehand and tried to, like, tame him down and said, hey, I know you do this, you rile people up. in your concerts, you might want to tone it down. So, I mean, I think he had some accountability if he was doing that. But then I also think that people have some personal accountability because you choose how you act. You ain't got to act a fool because somebody told you to.
And he is paying
So,
for everybody who passed away funeral. I think that's a nice gesture. He's paying for every funeral.
but yeah, so we'll see what comes out of this as more comes out. But for current events, we'll say we looking forward to the Shaka and Stephanie Mills versus that's coming up this weekend. If you guys have not listened to the Diana Ross album or the Silk Sonic album, listen
You're
to them.
not missing nothing. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
Check it out. Check it out.
I'm just
And,
joking. Diana, I love
and
you.
share on my page, what you think about it. We weren't overly moved by either project. There were a couple of good songs here and there, but nothing that really like wowed
I
us.
like the Silk Sonic.
Not on that Diana Ross.
I like the club song. Y'all know I like the club. So I like the club song. I could see that. That's a fun song. And I like Thank You. Kind of nostalgic on that. I was like, I said, okay, it's a little too much like You're All I Need to Get By, but I still kind of like it. Check it out though on my page. Share if you like it. So talking about a little bit of history, and then we're going to give the results of our poll. 65 years ago today. Well, no, what's today? No, 65 years ago on the 18th. So 65 years ago this week, Fats Domino sang Blueberry Hill on the Ed Sullivan Show. I didn't know. I always thought that was his song. I didn't know that it was a remake.
I've never even heard of the song.
I found my thrill on Blueberry Hill. It's old. I wasn't here in 1956, but I like old things. But it was actually made by the Glenn Miller Orchestra, Gene Autry, and Jimmy Dorsey. But I always thought it was just Fats Domino's song. But Fats Domino's version is what really became the hit and is considered one of the top 500 songs according to Rolling Stone. It's number 82. 55 years ago today, not today, I keep saying today. 55 years ago this week, the Supremes released You Keep Me Hanging On. It was their 7th number 1 song. 50 years ago this week, Isaac Hayes went to number 1 with the theme from Shaft. 50. None of us was here, but dang, that long ago. 40 years ago, I know y'all probably don't know this because y'all 80s babies, but
I'm a 70s baby. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I forgot. You are. I forgot. Yeah, you just made it. But you still probably don't know this because this is the quirky side of me that likes some corny pop stuff sometimes. But Olivia Newton-John came out with the song "Physical."
I know that. Let's get physical. I wanna get physical. See, let me tell you, I used to run home from school to beat my brothers to the TV because they always want to watch wrestling or that little Samurai Sunday stuff. We had one TV in the living room, and I would run to watch videos all day long. Mm-hmm. If I got to the TV first, we was watching videos, MTV, and I'm jumping on the couch because we were latchkey kids, so my parents was at work. Jumping on the couch, dancing, that's all I ever did was watch videos every single day. And I would hate if they got to the TV first.
Do y'all remember the name of that show? And I don't remember the name of the show, but I think it was like either channel 66 or something where you would call and request
the box.
The box?
Yes. You would call and you'd be like, play this. And they actually used to do it. It was a live request line for videos.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah, I'm in trouble. Them songs were $1.99 per song.
I never called because I knew I would be on the floor.
Yeah, that's why
at one point in time it was free.
I never called because I wasn't trying to see.
At one point in time it was free, but then they did start charging. 20 years ago, Britney Spears released her second album, Britney, and it went to number 1. And 5 years ago, on the 18th, Sharon King, I don't know if y'all know who that is, but she was in a group called the Dap Kings. And she wasn't a big star, but there's a documentary about her and her sickness because she had pancreatic cancer on, it's either on Netflix or Prime, I don't know. But she passed away from pancreatic cancer. But a lot of people who follow sort of like, the blues circuit, they know who she is,
Oh,
Sharon
I
King.
was gonna say, what's one of her songs? Because I want to say I heard of
She did
them.
she did a lot of covers. I don't know if she had any originals, but she did a lot of covers and she was on the blues circuit. But I did
Okay.
watch that show about her, and I know at one point that she thought she had beat it, and she was getting better, but then she got sick again. So 5 years ago on the 18th, she passed away. So those are some music history facts for this week. And then to talk about our poll. So in our poll, we had some of the best remakes. We had Strawberry Letter 23 by the Brothers Johnson, which was a remake of Shuggy Oats. We had Love Don't Live Here Anymore, Faith and Mary J, a remake of Rolls Royce. And we had Them Changes by Ledisi, which was a remake of Buddy Miles. And the song that people voted the best out of the three was Strawberry Letter 23 by the Brothers Johnson.
So can I say something?
Go ahead.
So I still think that Lettuces was the best. If y'all haven't heard it, go and check it out. Listen to the original and her version. It was really good. But I will say I can agree that Strawberry Letter probably was the best. And I say that because even though I like Lettuces and I had not heard the original before, had never heard the original before, but I knew when I heard the song it was a remake. I didn't know who remade it, had never heard the original, but I could tell it was a remake. You know what I mean? Brothers Johnson, another, they'd be added to the group of Anita and Luther. I had no idea that was a remake.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you have the ability to make the song yours,
Mm-hmm.
that's who should be remaking.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Everybody else sit down.
Mm-hmm. So, Nicole just told y'all the Lettucey one was her pick. Love Don't Live Here, Love Don't Live Here Anymore was Tawana's pick, and Strawberry Letter 23 was my pick. So the worst songs, the ones that shouldn't have been remade, we got When Doves Cry by Genuine, remake of Prince. Secret Garden was by Cisco and a whole bunch of other folks. Remake of Quincy Jones, and If I Ever Lose This Heaven, Sergio Mendez's version of Quincy Jones. Now, Average White Band also remade that song, and somebody likes that version, and they think that's better than Quincy's, but that's we gonna agree to disagree on that one too. But they do. So the winner on that one was the worst one on that one was When Doves Cry by Genuine.
Yeah, I never heard that, but I can imagine.
So When Doves Cry was my pick, and when I tell you it's horrible, go listen to it. It's horrible. Like the music is horrible, the vocals are horrible. I'm like, oh my God, why did you do that to that song? And why did they let him release it? I don't understand. Somebody should have been in the studio and said, no, I don't think we should do this.
Oh, and I wanted to say too, if y'all remember, Tevin Campbell redid Strawberry Letter 23.
You sent that to us.
It sounded like it should have been like the theme song, the Sister Sister or something.
It wasn't the greatest.
New Jack Swing circus music. That's what it sounded like to me. Then the rap. Come on, Tevin.
It wasn't good. It wasn't good.
Now that one should have been worse because he was foolish. He should.
Secret Garden was Nicole's pick, right?
Mm-hmm.
And If I Ever Lose This Heaven was Swana's pick. So,
and I think Secret Garden, it didn't even need to be remade. It was like, why are y'all doing this?
Yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't good. Tawana, do you want to do the birthdays, or you want me to do them?
You can do it. I can play some music in the background for you.
Okay. So we got a lot of birthdays today, and this is the last full week of Scorpio season, but this week, and actually today specifically, we have Clyde McFadder from the Drifters. We have Alex Baby, Alexander O'Neal.
Oh.
Tony Thompson from Chic, Michael Hampton, Karen Clark Sheard, Keith Washington, and Old Dirty Bastard are all today. Then later this week, we have Winfred Blue, Love It from the Manhattans, Diana Cross, she's a jazz artist. We have her, Brian Adams from Color Me Bad. RuPaul's birthday is Wednesday. And I did not know that RuPaul was actually his name. I thought that was a stage name. But RuPaul is his real name. It's RuPaul Andre Charles. I was like, really? Because I was like, what's his real name? But evidently it's RuPaul. We got Ronnie DeVoe from New Edition. We got Donna Cherry from, he was a jazz musician. He had his daughter had that song, Buffalo Stance. Nia Cherry, you remember her?
Nina, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
she had that song. I went back and listened to that song today. I guess I really was a kid because I remember that song being better. Because I was like, this song sucks. It wasn't good. We got Gary Jelly Bean Johnson. Y'all probably don't know Gary, but y'all know Jelly Bean Johnson from the time, right?
Yeah.
So,
from the time.
From the time. It's his birthday. Annette Guest from First Choice. No. Y'all know that. Tony Rich, we got Q-Tip from Tribe Called Quest. His birthday is this week. Future, his birthday is this week. And Lonnie Jordan from War. Those are the birthdays this week. So I want to have not today, but Nicole and I were talking about something, and we're trying to figure out how to have this discussion about something. And I might invite some producers to come on or some musicians, but I think it would be very interesting to have a conversation about the relationship between artists, producers, songwriters, and how all of that kind of goes down, and what people think the pecking order is and why. Because I'm a person that I believe that every element of a song is important in order to make it a hit. I think the music is important. I think the lyrics are important. And I think the delivery, the vocals from the artist are important. All three of those things come together to create magic. It's either hit or miss. And you have some people be like, oh man, I hear the music first. I'm like, and that's what they say, because that's what they actually believe. But if that was an instrumental on the radio, they probably wouldn't pay no attention to it, to tell you the truth. Because there are very few instrumentals that are mega hits out there. So I don't fully buy when people say, I hear the music first. Because if it was truly, purely an instrumental, I don't think you would feel the same way about it. So, but because of some things that I want to have a discussion, a real discussion, and I want to try to invite either some musicians, producers, or whatever on here to have this discussion with us, me as a songwriter and artist, you guys as artists and songwriters, like you're working on writing songs more, to talk about this relationship and this dynamic that goes on. So I think that it'll be very interesting. And Tawana, we could fill you in on what we were talking about earlier, because we're trying to figure out how to tactfully have this conversation.
We don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. We don't
want to hurt nobody.
No Lifetime Network.
I don't want nobody to be like, I ain't playing for Tammy no more. But any last words? Any last words from either of you ladies?
No, just thank you for the ones that tuned in. Like, share, subscribe on YouTube, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. We're on here every Monday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Yeah. And Tawana?
Yes, I'll be here at 7 p.m. Look, I was ready today. I'm in Chip Dome. I need the house quiet at 8 o'clock. That's okay. When I move to Atlanta.
Yeah, you just gotta come down here. You just gotta come on down here with me. Yes, absolutely.
Enjoy the evening. See y'all next Monday on
Yeah.
time.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We will see you next week. Stay tuned, tell a friend, and we look forward to seeing you. Good night.
So natural, like the skin I'm in. As natural.